Bucky here. It's the Pat and JT podcast.
Pat and JT podcast.
So we're glad you're listening to our podcast again today. It's Pat and JT, or if this is your first time, thanks for listening. It's Pat and JT, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at patandjt.com.
Yeah,
you can also call us 402-403-9478.
So on the podcast today, we have a guest. Jim Phillips is here with us. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. Now, Jim, we're going to introduce first off, you've been a Twitter friend of mine for a while. So I bring in my Twitter friends and my Facebook friends whenever I can.
Do we have to explain what a Twitter friend is?
No, we don't. We're fine with that. It's okay because a lot of people are your Twitter friend.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, this is true. And we've met face to face for the first time Friday night when we were at Ray's. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For Rocket in the Morning was back in town not that long ago. So it was about just a few days ago when we first came face to face with each other for real. And it was great to see you guys out there. And some people also probably, maybe they aren't familiar with you on Twitter yet, but they may be familiar with your wife. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Carol Wang. And people will recognize that name, no doubt. She was in news for a number of years here in Omaha. Mm-hmm. But you have your own following. People turn to you on Twitter, which I find it's just like, it's kind of interesting, and that's why I farted. That's why I started following.
I'm so excited. That's why I farted.
If you start following, you farted.
That's why I write time codes down, Jim. Jill said farted at 5:01.
But that's why I started following you, because at first I didn't know that you were married to Carol.
Right.
And so I started to follow you, and you were giving out really good information about weather.
Thank you.
And that's why I started to follow you in the first place.
When the younger kids, the ones under 40, started following me on Twitter, I think they thought I was on television because they don't watch television, right? Most people.
This is true.
Right. So they're just like, oh, here's this dude. His picture is like some middle-aged, bald dude. He kind of says he's a meteorologist. I guess he's probably on TV. So they don't know, right?
Right.
So I think for that reason, people just followed and...
But you give credible advice, and also you have exchanges with other people who have credible advice, like National Weather Service stuff, and some of those other guys that people like to lean on. It's just kind of interesting the way they find you when you get on Twitter.
Yeah.
People will find you if you're giving good information, and that's what happened. That's why I started to follow you because I liked the way you broke things down, and wasn't like so much talking at us, and you just kind of like made it simple to understand for the general person that's out there going, I don't know.
And I've always been fascinated with just meteorology in general. I didn't have the patience or the smarts or the list of things to go to school for meteorology and learn all that stuff. But I'm always fascinated with just the science behind it.
Well, you grew up in Nebraska. Mm-hmm. That's part of it. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Chicago.
So, Windy City. So, and weather, huge there.
That's right.
So was that like a thing for you when you were a little kid?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I was like one of those weird geeky kids that would get excited for the news and watch the weather after 10 o'clock.
I used to do that too. I loved it. Watching Jim Flowers when I was back in the day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I remember it was somebody else that I used to watch.
Tom Bavacqua.
That was one of them, I think.
One of my favorite names of all time. Bavacqua.
My dad used to have a doctor named Dr. Bavacqua. Lavacqua? Oh, I'm not sure.
Whatever.
Anyway, it was something like
Sounds
that.
Bavacqua.
It was Vacqua. It was Vacqua.
It was vodka?
At the end of it. Not vodka.
Dr. Vodka?
No, it wasn't Dr. Vodka. Maybe. Well,
that
wasn't it either.
That needs to be a brand of vodka, though. I'll tell you that. Dr. Vodka. Yeah. Going to see the doctor.
Dr. Le Vodka.
Yeah. Perhaps that's code, right?
Maybe.
Right?
Going to go see the doctor.
Were you a storm chaser kid when you were little?
No, it took until I got to college. I got a meteorology degree at the University of Kansas. I used to start. This was back before. I'm dating myself. So this was before the apps and really the internet.
Because storm chasing was kind of an individual deal because you didn't know how many other people were out there with you.
Right.
Correct. It was a lot more difficult. Right. So you didn't have. Right now, you essentially don't have to know weather at all. You basically could have radar scope on your phone, which is an app a lot of people have. Any type of radar app, and then you can. In fact, you could even chase. I wouldn't recommend it, but at night, right?
Right. They can.
And but back then, way back when, in the horse and buggy days, you would, you'd go out and you had basically were just looking at clouds. You had no idea. You had nothing.
Were there any because there are old wives' tales about weather that some of them may be true, some of them maybe not. Like cows are lying down, it's going to rain.
I've heard that. And I myself don't. I think there must be something with that.
Do you think that there's got to be a grain of truth in it to become an old wives' tale?
The one you hear in weather a lot, meteorology, is people say, well, the tornado can't cross the river or the lake or some baloney like that. Or
it has no problem.
It's not like a tornado is a person has
scared of water.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Scared of water.
There's a force field that just bounces off and goes the other way.
I'm not crossing the Missouri River. I'm not doing that.
Like a game of Pong.
Yeah.
Bonk. We'll just go back this direction. And the river bounces it back.
So when we used to tornado chase back in the day, you'd have to stop, and you'll remember these days perhaps, use a payphone, right? You didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
So then basically, first of all, you have to find a town or something because you're out in the middle of nowhere. And then, and back then, right now, all the kids
with the road map, you had a map unfolded in front of you.
And all the kids now are Googling, payphone, figure out what that is, right? Yeah. But you find a gas station, there's always a payphone around there. And then we would call back to, sometimes one of the guys would have an internship at a TV station or something, or the National Weather Service.
Sure.
And then you'd have to, and we were college kids, so we were cheap. And we didn't plan ahead. That's what you do when you're in college.
That's what you do.
So, of course, we didn't have quarters. So you do a collect call to
And in that little 3-second window that you got, please state your name after the tone. You go, oh my God, this is Jim. I think this is a tornado. Right. Please press 1 to accept charges. Oh God.
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, so needless to say, our rate of finding tornadoes was
you were pretty safe.
Was pretty horrible.
Right?
What's the closest you've ever been to a tornado?
I've
you actually saw, put eyes on you close to it.
It's probably a few miles, and that was I've only seen I think a couple from the distance. Again, it's hard. It really is hard to do.
Yeah,
it's like getting hit by lightning.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to do than it looks like when you see all these videos on TV. You have to remember you're just seeing the successful one,
right?
Not the endless hours, literally just hours and hours and miles driving around basically nowhere land.
And it's kind of interesting how, when the tornado warnings go out, the reason why people need to heed them is, number one, if it's a warning, that means there is bad weather that's happening and it's going to happen, but there's no way to predict exactly where it's going to happen. It's not like following a hurricane and tracking it. And
right.
It's like Louisiana, you're toast. Or
you have 3 days to prepare.
And you got here it comes, it's coming right at you.
Yeah, you basically have no excuse about getting hit by a hurricane. There's a ton, you have to.
It's the truth.
You basically have to tell law enforcement, no, I'm staying in my house.
Yeah,
I'm going to get
by
hit.
a hurricane.
You usually have enough time to walk.
Correct.
You have 3 days. You're I could walk and at least get out of where I'm not going to potentially die.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas tornado completely different is you don't have a lot of lead. You got
here's your area.
Yeah.
And somewhere in here it could hit.
Right.
And so just be prepared.
Yeah.
Whatever. So that leads me to 2 or 3 different questions.
I know I've got 7 of them.
I know.
Oh my.
I know. It's just because I love the whole idea of watching tornadoes. I've seen a couple fairly close, mountain central Nebraska. I lived in Juniata for a while, and one tracked across between my house and a little town, Kennesaw. Was out there, and it was tracking it out there in somebody's field, and I'm watching on the back porch, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's way too close, because it was right there, but it was just windy on my end, but there wasn't debris, that kind of thing. And then another one,
awesome,
right? And then another one was down by Red Cloud, and driving up from Kansas, and happened to I see a bunch of cars pulled over on the side of the road. And I knew that there was potentially bad weather. You can, the sky's green, whatever. And so I pulled over and like everybody else, get out of my car and look up.
Right.
Smartest thing to do.
Because you got to.
Because I got to. And there was one there.
Back in the day when I used to do the weather on TV, not at Omaha, but other places, Kansas City, Wichita. But you'd go on TV with a tornado warning, and you would tell people basically, to take cover. That's what you do. And then you'd walk out of the studio and into the newsroom, and what do you think is happening? The entire staff, everybody, is standing right at the window,
watching for a tornado.
Watching. It's the complete opposite thing you're supposed to do.
How frustrating, as the weatherman, the meteorologist who just put out the warning, and you break into programming, and you say, now it's a warning for your lives, I'm telling you. And people call in to complain because You just interrupted the Bachelorette.
Yeah, that happens all the time. All the time. I'd say that's the number one complaint. And when back in the day, again, we just had, I think we're just getting email, but we had phones, and so you could
you get their voice.
You could tell like the lady at the front desk, screen it, right? Don't let any of them get through to me. And all you have to do is basically pretend you're really busy and just, I'm really busy.
You don't need to hear it.
I'm very.
Because they would take the time. They know what you're trying to do. Like warn everybody, and they're taking the time to call because you
But now
interrupted a stupid show.
social media. So like Bill Ramby, Rusty Lord, they all get totally hammered on social media.
Oh, I wonder. We saw the program the little snippet the other day of the weatherman who lost it. He lost it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He was like, "You guys are idiots. I'm taking a pounding on social media because we broke into the Bachelorette. It's like, what is wrong with you people?" And he just went off. And I'm like thinking, you know what?
Good for him.
Don't read your own press.
Yeah.
Don't get on Twitter while you're giving the warnings. But I know you want to because you want to put the warnings out.
And I'm glad he said something. When I saw that, I'm like, you've got to be so frustrated when people are that dumb. Especially this season, The Bachelorette is terrible. So if it was any other season, I would have been upset too. But why would you I mean, there's a million other ways you can record The Bachelorette. You can even get online to whatever. Why people take the time to call you and complain?
Correct. And
they do.
They use the excuse that you can get the weather anywhere, right?
Right.
Online. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you can get all those programs anywhere. Too.
About tornadoes, before we get too far off of the tornado tip, I remember hearing stories, of tornadoes when you're in the tornado, from the debris and survivor standpoint, that the wind and the pressure can do weird things, rip the dirt out of a potted plant in a house, but the plant's sitting in the middle.
Yep.
I don't understand. Is that just something specific to tornadoes because of the pressure and the way it's moving, or how does that happen? I've seen many stories like that where dirt's ripped up and the plant's still sitting in there. How does that happen?
Another good one.
Yeah. It's just something that's unexplained.
And I don't know if it's all just pressure pressure and wind can do weird things, but I myself don't know.
I find the pictures from tornadoes fascinating.
They are.
There's some weird stuff like where it can drive straw through a board.
Yeah.
And,
I saw one the other day. It was when they had those horrible tornadoes, and there was a board that was driven through the curb of a street.
Yeah.
It went
weird?
right. It didn't break the concrete.
I know.
It went right through the concrete.
And there's, I don't know if it's ever been proven. If you look at some of the video from, you remember Pilger with the double tornado?
With the twins.
And some of that video, I swear you can see a house. It almost looks like from the
Wizard
movie The
of
Wizard of
Oz.
Oz.
Yeah.
Yes. But if you think about it, that's crazy. Like an intact house that's up, I don't know, hundreds of feet in the air, spinning in a tornado. So basically lifted the house, but didn't tear the house apart.
Right, crazy.
But you do see those where the houses get moved.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Several
So I don't
feet
know.
intact, and you think,
How?
And the house right next to him.
Or the house gone, but the chimney's there with the shelves on it and books still on the shelf. How? I don't get it.
I don't know.
It is. It's crazy. Have they had any luck, I should say, of like with now that we have drones, of taking, I'm just thinking of the movie Twister.
Yeah.
With Dorothy?
With Dorothy. Do we have a Dorothy nowadays, or have you heard anything or seen anything where the drones are able to get into the eye of the tornado? Because I know that they want to research what's going on.
Right. They don't, no, because the drone would probably get ripped to shreds if it was in there. Now, did you see, it's been on social media recently, the tornado that was outside of Lawrence, Kansas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That one, Reed Timmer, right? That's the guy with the Dominator, or whatever they call it.
Yes.
Like Dominator 3, I think, or 4.
The car?
It's like armor-plated car.
Yeah.
And I always want, if I ever meet him, which I never have, I want to ask him what the miles per gallon on that sucker is. Gotta be.
Is he kind of like your fangirl follow? I'm just
well,
curious.
he's, but he's,
I mean, as a weather guy,
he's crazy.
He's
mean crazy good. I mean, he's actually got a PhD in meteorology.
He's bad A.
But
I
couldn't do. That takes a little bit more than just studying me. It takes cojones, as we say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Right. And
exactly.
So, they're kind of adrenaline junkies. Right.
Yeah.
So what he did down in Lawrence is he shot a rocket with instruments into the tornado. This was just a week ago?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. That's awesome.
And it went way up. And I think some people found it like 30 miles away near Leavenworth. And and then they downloaded all that data. So essentially the rocket got it into the tornado, and then the rocket part stopped. And then once it was in it, the tornado basically took it from there and sucked it up higher. It went way, way up.
I never thought of that because
Yeah.
it's like that was the difficulty was penetrating the tornado, was getting into the tornado because there were people in planes trying to do it.
Yeah. I admit, when I first heard what he was going to do, I thought, okay, this sounds sort of like marketing, right? Like, oh, come on, you're going to shoot something with rockets. But he did it.
He's got a steel-plated car. Why not have a rocket?
Right. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
No, wait, basement, southwest corner. Is that true or no?
No, now they've changed. Well, it's been changed for a while. It's a small interior room.
Okay.
Because you're not really hiding from the house falling down on you. It's like glass and stuff flying through the window.
You are. They've just determined that a lot of it can slide right down into where the wall is of the basement. So you're not supposed to go to a corner. You're supposed to go to the middle.
That's a good thought.
So if you have a closet or a bathroom, anything, even under the stairs to the basement, I know you're probably thinking to yourself,
I'm thinking right now.
What is under the stairs of the basement? It's probably not a place you want to hang out, right?
Might want to start cleaning that out.
Yeah, like if there's one place in your house that has a black widow spider, that's probably it, right? So you survived the tornado, but I've been bitten.
Yes.
So
try and find that small interior room in the basement.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
that's
And
good
if you
to
don't have
know,
a basement, first floor.
First floor, but small interior.
Interior room, and crouch down and try to get something over your head. So, not that you would have a pool table in a small interior room.
I get you.
But something like that. Because if you think about it, the part of you, if something's going to hit you in a tornado, you want to protect your head more than anything. Mm-hmm. And so, in fact, we kind of have a little bit of fun on Twitter when we talk about this. When really, what you should do is have a helmet.
I was just going to ask that too, because I know
helmet.
because your son sometimes, as far as tornadoes, and understandably,
storms in general. Yeah.
Storms in general. He doesn't like him. But I always thought it was brilliant because he wears a helmet, and I'm like, when people just to cover your head, I have nowhere to go in my house.
Side note, episode notes. He doesn't do that anymore.
I think it's brilliant.
I think it's brilliant
and I
too.
think he might want to reconsider.
He would make me go in and edit that and put a timestamp. He stopped that before he got cool.
Okay,
So yes.
Well, that's like
He
putting a
used to
helmet
wear
on
a
to ride a
helmet.
bike. Nobody wants to do that either.
No, that's why I understand. Ride a bike. I'm not wearing a helmet. Not wearing a helmet. But a tornado helmet is brilliant.
I think it's a smart
they don't
idea.
make tornado helmets.
But you could make a tornado, Jim.
Market that.
We can sell it on Amazon. Yes.
Don't record this. Don't record this.
We'll delete all that.
We'll delete that. Never
Tornado
mind.
helmet, because you could in the tornado helmet you could have a little reservoir of water. You could have little things in there.
Yeah.
So
you
if
can even
something
have a little bit of vodka or beer, whatever
you want, Dr.
Kinda
Vodka, you
take
can
the
call
edge
it-
off.
Yes.
Normally when a tornado hits your house, you're a little bit stressed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
This takes the edge off.
maybe an emergency pin.
I think we've got something here. So
There you go.
now don't record this. We're gonna have to because
Okay.
years from now we'll be on Shark Tank and they're
right.
gonna be like,
Oh
how
my
did you
God.
think of this?
We live in Nebraska.
Right, and I was
like
doing
vodka.
Doing a podcast.
a podcast.
Everybody laughed at us doing a podcast.
Everybody, and now look at us.
Look at us.
We're billionaires.
yeah.
Right.
Love that. Oh, I love it. All right, as the weatherman, just curious, what would be the first three things that you grab on your way out of the house? The tornado's coming. You have time to get out of there.
I have time to get out of the house.
You have time to get out of the house.
This doesn't include keys to the car, does it?
I'm going to say that's a given.
Yeah, that's already in your pocket.
Yeah. Do you take the car though? If there's a tornado warning, a tornado warning, you stay in your house.
It depends on where this is.
Okay.
Like how
See, he
far
wants-
away.
See, that's a science in
Yeah,
it. He
too
wants
many.
details.
Too many.
Well,
We're-
okay. If you,
Yeah, okay. We'll
because
make
here's
it.
the
We'll
thing,
change it from
and
tornado.
it does also. It sort of depends on where you are, as
Okay.
far as like, are you in the middle of Omaha? Which means if you were to run out in the car, even if the tornado is 20 minutes away, you're going to be
the
stuck
tornado
in
just hit
traffic.
your house, Jim.
And if
He's
there's
been asking too many questions, the house is gone.
yeah.
You have your window. Your three things are gone
Right,
too.
right. And
Okay, let's
think
change
about it. When you think about how you want to die in life,
Yeah.
getting stuck in traffic is down near the bottom.
Oh
right?
my God.
Especially during a tornado.
Correct.
When you're trying to get away,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
trying to get away, and you're
Yeah.
stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
So-
you see that happen like the hurricanes. We go back to that.
Yeah.
They have a 3-day warning, and that last
Thankfully, they
day
have 3 days because they're going to spend 3 days on the highway getting out of there.
they close all the highways, and
Right.
everybody's northbound out
Yeah.
of town.
If you are on the road, though, are you supposed to get out of your car and go lay in a ditch?
You know,
If a tornado's coming, you see
yes,
it, you go and you lay in a ditch.
Yes. I hesitate because that is really two horrible
Like
options.
when
Yeah.
okay, I'm driving up from Kansas. I'm in
Yeah.
Red Cloud, and I see cars pulled over on a curb, and we're outside just north of town, so there's no city around us, no town around us. So, because the first option would be you could find someplace with a storm shelter, but I don't know where that is. In the supermarket, do you run in the freezer? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
But, right? Yeah. So if you're away from anything else and you're in a place that there is no place to get away, what do you do?
Yes, they say go to a ditch. I've heard that. It's not
terrifying.
a very good option.
You for me, I would have to actually lay eyes on it for me to get out and run down and lay in the ditch.
Yeah, I wouldn't just preemptively.
Yeah, I would say
before.
Preemptively?
Thank you. Preemptively.
It's pretty, I would say, desperate last minute thing.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, a tornado can easily, even a weak one, right?
Yeah.
Or even not even in the tornado, probably just the winds, like the inflow into the storm, could easily roll a car. So that's the theory: is a car is actually more dangerous than actually being outside of the car in the ditch. Although I've heard even some theories where a ditch could even flood because there's rain, right?
Right.
So it's meaning you don't have a lot of good options. So if the tornado is still, I don't know, if it doesn't look like it's imminent and you're in a car, and particularly if you're not like in a city, like you guys,
right?
If you
Open
grew up in
area.
a small town, or if you're on the interstate, I would say, I was going to say floor it, but we probably have
out
law
the window.
enforcement
State
listening to the
Patrol's going,
podcast.
no.
Hopefully they wouldn't ticket you if you were right. There was a tornado right there.
You would think, yeah.
But I would say get out of there would be. So yes, you can outrun.
Or look for an overpass or something. Get up
Oh,
under
you're
the
not
bridge.
supposed to do that.
Not under an
Oh,
underpass.
you're not?
Yeah.
That's a no-no.
Really?
Don't get
But
under
is
an
it better than?
underpass.
Is it better than a ditch? Like because the hail. I would think
Oh my
the
God.
hail could hit you in the if you're
Yeah.
laying in a ditch.
If you have a helmet on, though.
If you
You're
have,
okay.
If you have the
Your tornado helmet.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't want you. There was a video years ago where people went up underneath the girders, and because of that, everyone else has been doing it.
I remember that.
Yeah, but subsequently, since then, there's been tornadoes where people were killed.
They get injured or worse. Yeah, because
one of the ones
in
one of the more Oklahoma tornadoes, they were they found people that had tried that. And the other thing is, people stop on the. This just happened the other day with some of the ones down in Kansas. They stop on the interstate by the bridge, right underneath. So you're just going along the interstate. There's a car parked there. Like they don't pull over.
They don't
just
pull over.
stop.
Yeah, a few weeks ago when that tornado hit Lincoln, the F2 or whatever.
Yeah.
We were heading back, which my wife loves tornado. My daughter and my wife love chasing storms. Right, that's what she's wanted to do her whole life is just see a tornado, be close to a tornado, chase an actual confirmed tornado.
Oh my God.
And we were in Omaha the day that it hit a mile from her house. And yeah.
So you missed
it.
Missed
so
it.
yeah, we were on the way back to Lincoln, and you're right. There was just like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars just on the side of the interstate, down in the ditch, like
wow.
on the grass that
Wow.
were stuck. They just
Well, at least they
freaked
pulled
out.
over. But people have stopped in the lane.
That's crazy.
Right? Right? I mean,
Exactly.
like just you're going down and there's
in a panic, and they just
stop. It's like, well, at least pull over.
over a little bit.
So yeah.
I love weather talk. Okay,
So do
one
I.
more thing for you too. In the movie Sweet Home Alabama, I'm gonna take you back just a second.
Okay.
Right, and that's
Okay.
the movie with Reese Witherspoon, right? Josh Lucas.
You brought a baby to
And
a bar.
you brought a baby to a bar, and I never understood the problem with that sentence. But I was brought up different. But anyway, that part where Melanie was Reese's character,
Okay.
and she comes back to confront her ex Josh at his new business, and he is selling these articles made from petrified lightning that he collected at the beach. So the lightning would hit the beach, and then they dig them up. And he'd have these petrified. Have you ever heard of petrified lightning before?
No.
I just wondered if it's real.
I don't know. I mean, but it makes sense because
Yeah,
like
is that-
the heat like supposedly does something to the sand and melts it and
into glass
yeah.
Wow.
and makes glass pieces. But
I was vastly unprepared for this podcast.
That's okay.
We did not.
Because it could not be real.
you don't think so?
I don't. I mean, it sounds legit. It sounds
Yeah,
like
it
it could
does.
happen, but I would think we'd see them all over the place now.
I think it. I know you would think that after that movie there'd be a surge in this
Right. If
this
they're
thing
a
in the
thing.
market if that was a thing. But
Then,
I
but then lightning strikes hitting the beach. Like they planned it because it's a movie because they put like sticks in there and it would. But I don't think that really happens in real life. Like you'd have to really harvest lightning.
We'll throw that one out there for a question. Yeah.
Make those, right? And fake it and just tell people.
Oh my
it's
God.
really
We
like-
I'm
could
good
do
with
it
that.
right there with the tornado
Yeah, but if
helmet.
we're trying to get legitimacy with our tornado helmet, we can't be selling fake stuff, Jim.
You got to draw the line,
I'm good. Getting all Shark Tank on you now.
right? Exactly. Oh my God. All right. Well, Jim, thank you for coming in. We both were excited to have you come on our
No,
podcast.
this is fun.
So we'll start working up that tornado helmet thing.
Yeah.
You guys going in business?
I've already got it
together?
down right here.
He's writing specs out right now.
And it seems like every day we think of another reason why would be a good reason to go see Kugler Vision. People at Kugler Vision. That's if you don't want to get hit in the face with an F4 tornado, you need to make sure you see it coming.
You got to hashtag see Omaha.
Hashtag see the tornado.
Exactly. So Kugler Vision, that's Dr. Lance Kugler and Dr. Michael Stuntz would love to have you stop by. The first thing you need to do if you want to get out of your glasses or get out of your contacts, and if you're in a tornado, you don't want to be wearing either. I'm just saying.
That's something we could build into the tornado helmet. If you have prescription, it could be like a little slide, like a motorcycle. Poof.
No, better to go to kuglervision.com, and then you don't need that little accessory on your tornado helmet. Right. So you can set up your consultation at kuglervision.com. You'll see the tab right there. Just hit that and set it up. Go in and the consultation, you'll be amazed. They've got just an amazing facility. It's about a year or so old. And I went through the consultation. Pat's going through it. Dr. Kugler's going to be on our podcast soon. And I'm just saying, Dr. Lance Kugler, Dr. Michael Stuntz at kuglervision.com.
It's Pat and JT, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Hey at patandjt.com is our email address.
And Jim Phillips. How do we find you on Twitter?
I think it's Jim. I
think it's
at Jim_Phillips1.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to our podcast.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Parkville Media Production.